Dylan, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. I cooked dinner for myself last night for the first time in what feels like 5 years. So I think I'm on fire right now. I'm going to try and channel that feeling into being really productive today.
Nice one. Are you looking forward to the World Cup then, or?
I am. Yeah, we've been doing a video series preparing for the World Cup. We're doing a preview of one team a day for 32 days, which it fits in the category of things that I go, we're going to do this. And I just don't think about how actually hard it's going to be able to do.
I know that feeling.
And so we're making progress, though.
Ah, good. Well, now, who are you backing for it then?
Oh, all right. Now, out of every team I've previewed so far, I still think France is the best team. The only thing that could get them is the curse.
Yeah.
The curse of winning, and that could still get them. But there's no other reason. They have the same core that won the World Cup 4 years ago, and then they just added the Ballon d'Or winner to it. Like Benzema just walks through the door, and then they add like Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Like they added a bunch of people to the core, and they really didn't lose that many people from the team that won it 4 years ago. There's no reason they shouldn't win it again.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a bit biased. I want England to win. It would be nice.
Well, of course, I want the US to win. It's just probably not going to happen.
So my first question is, who or what got you into gaming?
I have a few vivid memories from my childhood. One is that my dad was very against gaming, not like vehemently, barnstorming, screaming against gaming, but very much the type of guy that would be like, all right, I'm going to unplug the PlayStation so that you go outside, sort of parenting, which was great because, I went outside, which it doesn't happen as much anymore. But I got a PlayStation 2 when I was 6. I don't have any real memories of gaming before that. In that PlayStation 2 got me into sports games, which is obviously something that I'm still doing a little bit of, in case you hadn't noticed. And then computer games I went to a Mac store because my mom needed something to get fixed at a Mac store. And I was sitting there and I looked over. It was in the back left of the store. I could walk there now blindfolded. I don't know why. This is where the games were. And I saw Rome Total War, the original Rome Total War, in like a box with a CD. And I went, I need that. And so the same way you convince your mom to buy you a candy bar when you're at the grocery store, I convinced her that it was historical, right? I was reading the description, right? I knew how to sell it. I'm going to learn history if you give me this game. And so the first computer game that I got was Rome Total War. And I just remember reading the box on the way home and absolutely loved it. And then the Paradox games like Crusader Kings were on that same computer. I honestly don't even know. I don't remember buying that CD. It just kind of appeared. But that was the beginning. It was a slow, methodical beginning into something that eventually just kind of took over my life.
To be fair, the Total War games were amazing back in the day.
Back in the day, I think I played. I think the new ones don't do it for me as much. But that I played Rome Remastered no less than 6 months ago.
So when did you start streaming then?
I started streaming in college, my last year of college. So I had a very normal, I wasn't one of those people that started streaming at 14 years old or whatever. I meet those guys now, and I'll be at an event, maybe a TwitchCon or some other creator event, right? Which is weird getting invited to that because I'm like the only person that plays Football Manager. I clear all the thresholds, but then they're just like, you want to go to this? And I'll be like, sure. And I'm like, what do you play? And they're like, Minecraft. And I'm like, oh. I got nothing against Minecraft. I've literally never played it. And the people who play it are nice. I met this one guy. We're having lunch, and I'm just like, oh, when did you start streaming? He's like 8th grade. I'm like, oh, this is going to go well. I'm like, oh yeah, what do you play now? Like, what have you been doing recently? And he goes, oh, I've really had to slow down my streaming because of prom. And I was like, what? Dude just graduated from high school. So I started my senior year of college. I had don't want anybody to think that I slacked. Okay, I got a double major in college, but I finished basically a semester early. I had one class my last semester because I was working. This might be the coolest tandem sentence I ever said. I got a double major, and then I was working at the Olympics, which were Winter Olympics. I was an associate producer for the Winter Olympics, This was part of the job that I had before streaming, which was just sports media and being a kind of sports broadcaster and stuff, and editing and working with video, which obviously helps with my current profession now. And that happened in February. So I only had one class my final semester because I had to be able to leave for a month. And once that was done, once I got back in March, like the Olympics are over, I am sitting in my final semester of college with one class, and it was Latin American film. Granted, interesting class, but it's also not astrophysics, right? So I had a stupid amount of time. I just built my own computer along with my friends. So the first time I was on PC. I was actually on Microsoft. I've been gaming on Mac laptops before that. And so my friend said, "Oh, well, let's just start streaming." He was in a similar boat. When we game, we're gaming every day. Let's just stream the gaming. Okay, cool. We'll stream the gaming. He sets up this really cool OBS. I don't even know what OBS is. He walks me through how OBS works, how to start a stream. This is stuff I never would have looked up. I wasn't particularly interested in it. The only reason I knew what Twitch was is because Fortnite was taking off, and then Ninja, right? I'd never really been on Twitch. I didn't know exactly what it was. And so I start streaming when we're playing games. I used Windows Movie Maker to edit together a compilation of a game called Fistful of Frags, which is real. I mean, it was just for fun, basically.
Yeah.
And there was some beginning of life moment, where like the cell divides, and I don't know exactly when it was, but I went, I really enjoy this. I do remember the thought process being, I need to find a game that I'm good at and just stream it every day. Because I knew one thing about Twitch is that people play games that they're good at. And what was the game that I played nonstop for the last 2 years of college? It was Football Manager.
Yeah.
That was the game that I played nonstop. So that was the whole thought process. I had never watched a Football Manager stream in my life. I'd never watched a Football Manager YouTube video in my life because I usually hate tutorials. I consumed no content. On Twitch, you play a game that you're good at, so I'll play Football Manager. Boom. That was it. Started playing Football Manager, streamed it for 2 years to almost nobody. And then eventually things changed. But that was the full origin story in all of its glory. Yeah.
Well, you just covered my next question was what made you start streaming? But
it was a love for it. I think it's super cool. I think everything about streaming is super cool. Except for maybe the fact that you can't stand up, but now I have a standing desk. So now everything about streaming is super cool.
I really
yeah. No, it was, I am not handy. It was very difficult to build, but now that it's done, very happy that I did it, as with many things. But boy, was it just difficult to build. The element of streaming where it's the interacting with people and people being excited to watch you game in a vain way. I mean, that's cool. Like I played Planet Zoo. Yes, I do this every once in a while. Like I'll play a game randomly that nobody expects me to play. I played Planet Zoo yesterday, right? I love Planet Zoo, but it's not. This is not like exhilarating action, right? This is me building a zoo that I've been working on for a long time, and it's cool. It's usually a fairly well-made game. I checked the analytics or something after the stream. It was an average of like 800 people watching me play Planet Zoo. That is so cool. If I could tell myself back when I was in college, doing those initial streams where when I got to 50 followers, I was so excited I couldn't sleep. Like, there are 50 people. I'm kind of numb to it. You become more numb to it. I think and you always run into that in little elements of your life. But back then, like when you just start to transition from normal dude to you're a creator that people look at as somebody that's offering entertainment. I had 50 followers. I was so excited I couldn't go to sleep. And now it's like, it's weird because I'm trying to like hack my own biology so that you can stay focused on how awesome it is what I do, because you can be so obsessed with trying to progress, I've got the next video has to do better than the last one or I have failed, right? The next stream has to do better than the last one or I have failed, because that's how you're wired to get to this point, and it's hard to unwire yourself to stop. or not stop, but to at least accept the fact that you're not always going to nail it. So you meet a new friend, right? When you're hanging out in, I don't know, Central Park on the weekend, and they go, "Oh, what's your Instagram?" Oh, okay, and I'll be like, "Sorry, Instagram." Reflexively, I'll be, "Oh, sorry, Instagram's my worst platform." And the reason I'm bringing up this interaction is because it illustrated to me. I had like a wow, New Zealand. You need to rethink about that. You need to go back to the 50 followers and being really excited that was the case. Because I introduced myself like that, and they pulled it up, and they're like, "I have 14,000 people follow you on Instagram." I'm like, you're right. I don't because the reason that I said that, and I'm like almost embarrassed to show you my Instagram, is because some of my friends and some of the people I've met have 2 million followers on Instagram. So you create this new relativity that's completely distorting the way that you perceive successes and stuff. And I'm still loving it, and I'm still having a great time with it. So I got into streaming because I was pathologically addicted to the feeling of hanging out with people. It was perfect for me because I've always just loved entertaining people. I was always an actor. I was always in front of people.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's how I like to spend my energy. And then once it's over, I just go into a coma and watch Netflix and eat. That's it.
It sounds like the life to me. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm binging a show right now that's taking over my life, but we'll see. It should end soon, so we'll be fine.
I know that feeling. I've been the one I'm watching at the minute. Shameless. I know you had the US version over on Netflix.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I have not seen it, so I can't spoil. I can't spoil it for you. Oh, okay. No, there's always. The thing is, there's always a show for me. There's literally all. And once I finish, I'll go to the next one, and I'm like, oh. People said this was good. I watch one episode. I go, this is going to be my personality for the next month. And then I just rip it.
So my next question is, how did you get into Football Manager, since it's usually like a UK/European sort of game? Because obviously it's soccer over in America.
It is a UK-European game. I don't know why necessarily, because it's not like people don't play soccer or talk about soccer in the United States. One thing I'd just like to make incredibly clear is I get to interact with people from all over the world pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But I think Christian Pulisic summed this up best. He's like, well, we don't call it soccer to spite anybody. I don't know who made the rule, right? I've made a video. I studied the history of why we call it soccer. But literally, if I'm talking to my friends in the United States and I say football referring to soccer, nobody will have any idea what I'm talking about. Like, it is a strong language barrier thing. We aren't sitting there like giggling like soccer, like we actually, that is just what we say. It is hilarious. Yeah. And if every American generally that you talk to, I'm sure you can find one on Twitter that isn't like this, but doesn't really care and just says football. I mean, look at professional, like high level professional players from the US. They all have like footballer in their Twitter bio just because they don't want to deal with it. But if they're all home and they're talking to their friends at home, it's soccer. It's always soccer every time. So, I played soccer. A lot of people played soccer growing up. And FIFA is incredibly prevalent. I mean, I'm sure there's more copies of FIFA in the US than there are in England. I would not be surprised by that at all. We had FIFA tournaments in my fraternity in college. Like, it is very prevalent.
Yeah.
And so the culture around the game is very prevalent. But as we noticed from the earlier conversations, or you might have, I'm not a huge PvP guy. I'm very competitive. I hate losing, and video games require the amount of time investment to be actually good at that I can't provide. So if I show up and play Call of Duty and some 12-year-old is slide canceling his way over my corpse, that's not something I'm excited about. So strategy games, generally great, right? I can learn the mechanics of the strategy game. I can compete at a level that I want against the computer, and it's fine. And so I played career mode because that's what that is in FIFA. I loved the game, but I'd play career mode. And there was one instance in particular where I realized that FIFA was just too easy, that I could essentially do anything and it wasn't fun anymore. I was playing Fraternity League basketball. I blew out my knee. I don't think that phrase translates super well. So I tore my ACL, basically. I tore a cruciate ligament, which, stinks. And it requires surgery, big old surgery, which for some reason it's outpatient. So you go home the same day, which is insane. Yeah. So I had major reconstructive knee surgery and they just sent me home 4 hours later. And I lived up the stairs, so that was fun. I passed out once I got up. Once I got up to the top of the stairs, I literally just fainted. So I'm high on all sorts of things, as one must be, because my knee has just been filleted, and I don't even remember most of what happened in the first 3 days because you are so high. They're just trying to get you through that space and time without being in pain.
Yeah.
Yet somehow I still played FIFA and won the Champions League with Bari from Serie B in like 4 seasons. While I didn't leave the bed, my mom's there making sure I'm okay, and I'm just sitting there in my bed, knees in this giant inflatable cast, and I'm just playing FIFA career mode without half of a functioning brain, and I smoked it. And I went, okay, this is just, it's too easy. I don't even remember doing this. I had no real memory. It's kind of trippy, honestly. I had no real memory of it, and I just was looking at, oh wow, I guess I won everything. Oh, okay. So I was talking to my friends about that, and one of them's like, oh, I found the same friend that got me into streaming. So this guy he's accidentally just directed my entire life, which isn't a surprise. We've known each other since we were 5, and he was always the brains, and I was always the brawn. So he saw I found this game. In his exact words were, it's like FIFA career mode on crack, right? Because this was back in, I don't know, 8 years ago, where that turn of phrase was like how you describe something that's crazy, So he said that. I went, oh, okay. So we downloaded it and we opened it 4 or 5 times. We started a career mode where I was Barcelona, he was Real Madrid. We did and we didn't get a day. There's so many things popping up and so many things that you feel like you have to do in the game that I went, okay, I know it's probably fun, but the amount of time I would have to invest to learn what the heck is going on in all these panels is just not enough. But eventually cleared the threshold. Probably 2 years after I bought FM14, I cleared the threshold to understanding how to play the game, and then I've been absolutely hooked ever since. I haven't really stopped playing it.
Well, to be fair, I'm glad you haven't, considering where it's got you, obviously.
Yeah, I couldn't stop if I wanted now, but shoot, I play Football Manager. It's like I still love playing FM.
How many hours did you rack up in Football Manager 22?
I had 1,700 hours in FM22. I think my biggest one is FM20. Mm-hmm. I had 2,100 hours in that one. That is the biggest one. Yeah. Yeah, the amazing thing is the one that hooked me, FM 2014, mm-hmm. I only had 700 hours. And then 1,200, and then 1,100, and then 800, 2,100, 1,500, 1,700. So we're getting close to the 10,000 hour mark where I'm supposed to be a complete savant at it. Yeah. We'll see. I'm making progress.
Well, that was also my next question of how many do you think you put into the whole franchise, but you've just nailed that perfectly, so thank you.
The Steam's very helpful that way, and I haven't played it anywhere else. Yeah, it just sits right in front of you.
See, I was upset. The only game I used to really track my hours on was Rocket League, and I remember putting about 700 hours in. I think it was about 2018. They had some bug that got rid of all your hours, and it reset everything back to 0.
Oh, no.
I was just sat there, I was like, I don't know how many I've actually put into this now. I've got no way of measuring.
Yeah, to be fair, there's probably some people that were much more angry about that had like 5,000 hours or something.
So I was like, right, I'm going to get my Grand Champ at some point, but they recommend you need this many hours into it. It's like, right, I'm about a quarter of the way there, and it just disappeared. I was like, okay. I don't know how long I've got left with that then. But so no, the next question was obviously, were you not interested in FIFA? But as you've said, like career mode was just too easy for you. Were you not interested in like the Ultimate Team, or was it just because it wasn't tactical enough?
No, I don't think it wasn't because it's not tactical enough. I just thought Ultimate Team just feels skeezy to me. I mean, there's like those parts of games just feel to me. It frustrates me. There's something in my brain where I tried it. I for video, I play FIFA for the first time in 5 years, right? I did, and I went and played like the 10 starter matches on Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
And the freaking teams that you go up against with somebody who stole their mom's credit card or something. And you're just sitting there, you're like, this isn't fair. This isn't fun. And I'm not bad at FIFA. I would like that to be pointed. I am not just somebody that is complaining because I'm awful at FIFA. Because you know what I played a ton of? FIFA World Cup video games.
Yeah.
And
I remember
play,
playing. I think I have a
and
2006 one on PSP.
Yeah, the 2010 one was great. The 2014 one was terribly made, and I played it a ton anyways. You play Uruguay, and they'll have Luis Suarez playing defensive midfield, and they just never patch that. Yeah, it's weird. But I've played a ton of matches in FIFA. That's what people underestimate about when I say these things. Like, I played my editor when I visited him in Liverpool, and I beat him.
Yeah.
And I played him again, and I won it. Right, like. I still have it. I'm not bad. And there's no, compared to like Ultimate Team Gremlins, I'm not good. But the basis of my complaint is not because I'm just trash at the game, which I know is, I'm not good relative to those guys, but I'm not trash and can beat the average human being walking down the street in a game of FIFA. That old fraternity FIFA league, I actually only lost one game in the regular season, and some work thing. I couldn't go to the tournament, which was disappointing. The point is, I just don't like Ultimate Team. I don't like the way it's set up, and I generally don't like games that feel scummy to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And FIFA is the ultimate. It feels scummy to me. I think Call of Duty feels scummy to me a lot of the time. It doesn't feel smooth, and they feel like money grabs, and that it turns me off of the game.
Oh, I know.
A lot of the times.
FIFA 22 is the first one I played in a while. Like, we're talking like the last one I played properly was 2013. We're talking a long time ago, and it got me. I was doing that. I got beat a few times. I was like, I need to, put some money in to get my team better. I put £40 in, and I got Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I was just like, he's worth 30,000 coins. I literally have just wasted £40 on someone who I literally could have saved up for, like maybe 4 or 5 days of playing. Like properly sweating it and trying to grind out the money. So
no, it's gambling. It really is. I think on a entirely separate note, but I'm mind blown that nobody acknowledges this. There's a huge sports betting problem in the world, and FIFA is not a small contributor to that. Because that is appealing to the exact same part of the brain. It is. It's basically gambling on fantasy sports that you actually get to control the team on, and then it just translates it out. Maybe that's why I don't like FIFA. I never really gambled either. I never had that switch flipped in my brain. And I suppose I'm thankful for that, because I know once it flips, it can be a thing.
So I'm looking that way too. I've never had that. But again, FIFA kind of, starts to tempt you in of like...
It starts to pull you...
Just get this player. You have this chance of getting Neymar, or you can get this end.
With the chances. Oh, the chances kill me. Even when I played Ultimate Team, and I've probably played 1 year of Ultimate Team, and I think it was 2014-ish, I didn't buy anybody. I literally just played and traded in the... Yeah, I didn't put any money in. I've never put any money into FIFA.
Well, the thing that gets me with FIFA as well, when it comes to the end of a year and a new one comes out, you've literally just lost everything to start over again.
Yep.
Even like...
Yep.
I guess they were generous and let us bring our FIFA points over this year, but apart from that,
it's not their financial incentive to do so, and they're printing money anyways. So
exactly. But so what other games do you play in your spare time? Now, obviously, I know you've mentioned Planet Zoo as one of them that like resets your brain.
Planet Zoo is the relaxation game. That really is therapeutic for me. My mom used to work at a zoo, so I grew up around a ton of animals, and so the Planet Zoo just appeals to me. But the Total Wars Paradox games are reliable. At any point, my friends or I can just be, oh, you want to do a CK3 save? And we'll be like, oh, yeah. Every time we're going through what we're going to play, it's, do you want to do an EU4 save? Do you want to do Hearts of Iron? Do you want to do CK3? Okay, no, maybe yes. Apex is my main first-person shooter. I've played that since the very early days when it came out in 2018. So I've before the seasons and everything. So I've really enjoyed Apex, and if I feel like shooting, that's where I'm going to go. Rust, I have a ton of hours in Rust, but that is very much a spurt game. You'll go, okay, this week I'm going to do nothing but breathe, eat, stream, make videos, and then play Rust with every other waking hour that I have. That's the decision you have to make. I play Kenshi, which is this great indie game that took this guy 10 years to make, and Hell Let Loose is a great. I have diverse tastes. I'm literally just reading you my favorite section on Steam right now.
It's a good insight. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, my lane game is called Smite. Right, I've never really played League or Dota, but Smite is a game like that, and so I enjoy that. That basically covers it. I still play a weird amount of Fall Guys. If you're ever just looking to chill,
yeah,
or we're not looking to try particularly hard, Fall Guys is a fun time.
Yeah, well, we
so
had
just
a community gaming night doing that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mind. You know, just getting everyone from the Discord server on and just trying to play together.
It's fun. It's a funny game. It's well made. It's such a smart idea for a game.
The nice thing when it first came out as well, it was just a new concept on the Battle Royale. You know, instead of just like, right, you got a small circle that closes, shoot each other. If you go in the circle, you choke. Whereas now it's like, right, no, you're going to play these fun party games that we all grew up playing on, like the Wii and, you know, that sort of style. And then obviously mixed it in with the Battle Royale of like, right, it's the last man standing wins.
Yeah, no, it's Mario Party games. It's Mario Party games exactly. Battle Royale. Smart idea.
So, apart from Football Manager, what's your favourite game of all time?
Skyrim.
Yes.
That was the first. I want to say it was the first open world game that I ever got lost in. I mean, just like I just walk around. You know, and you just look around and you're listening to the music and it's epic and you're just like, wow. I really am a Khajiit Archer right now. You know, you just I can get lost in worlds. I got completely lost in Skyrim, and we'll get lost in the next one whenever it comes out repeatedly, right? But I don't replay open world games. My memory, I suck at math, right? And I'm very bad at communicating with people, like to get my personal flaws out there. My memory is ridiculously good. It is very good. And so open world games don't do it for me because I remember all of the, you know, I don't rewatch movies or shows that much because I remember what happened.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me. And the same with open world games. I know, I'm not going to go get the Emerald Claw again, right? Like I already know what this is. Skyrim was so good. It was the first open world game that I actually replayed. I've replayed it 5 times. I think part of that is that you can go a different direction each time, and the whole story is different and it's new. Mm-hmm. But another part is it was just so good, and there were so many things that you could do. And maybe next time I wanted to be a mage, because the first time I was Archer. Mm-hmm. Still remember that guy, Khajiit Archer. And then the next one I was a mage. Went to the mages college and did all this stuff. And this is without even modding it on the computer, and I know that can completely change the way the game feels and plays. And so Skyrim, I think, is probably, is the best game ever made. I know there's more educated people that could debate that topic better, but I think Skyrim, for me, is the best game ever made.
It must have something behind it because they've re-released it for the past, 11 years?
Yeah. No, the modding culture of the way they've added to it on the computer as well, it just keeps it fresh and keeps it. But no, they are great game developers, the people that are behind that stuff. But they understand that when they release a game, it's like the opposite of Football Manager. They're expecting that game to stand for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? They're releasing that game with the expressed intent of it being able to stand as something you can play and enjoy for 15, 20 years, which is really unique in the gaming industry. I mean, really the only other people that do that are Rockstar with GTA. That's basically it.
Yeah. I must admit, I enjoyed Skyrim. It was, again, one of my favourite games. I remember growing up on it all the time. I kind of did the same, but I don't have the patience of where I got lost. I was like, I'm lost. I can't fast travel. And Alt F4, I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's the strategy game in me. Is I enjoyed I'm just gonna walk this way. Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen, and all of a sudden you stumble upon something, and I would be like picking up plants. I mean, I am a loser in video games, right? I am gathering plants. I am. Oh, what does this make? You know, I'm not out here like blowing things up. You know, I've got this spell called Firestorm that I'm just not using. So, let me make this concoction real quick.
Well, it's even one of them where it's like, oh well, you know what? We'll see what this does. Okay, I'd rather, I'm the same. I go into every little nook and cranny looking for every little bit of loot you can find. I'm always over in corners, every time super slowly until I find a chest to offload it all and then, start again. Like, but so, what's the longest time you've actually sat and just played a game straight for?
I did a 24-hour stream once, which has to qualify. I played a bunch of different games, had a bunch of different strategies to pass the time, like conversations with people.
Yeah.
But that's the longest. The longest I've ever sat and played a game not streaming, not because I said I was going to, is somewhere around 13 to 14 hours. I've had some incredible binges of CK3. I've had once I figured out Planet Zoo, as funny as this sounds, I had an incredible binge of Planet Zoo. I played, it was at least 11 hours. I mean, straight, ordering food, like straight through. So I have an obsessive personality. And when I get hooked, the downside of my job is I am in complete control of my own schedule. And so if I get hooked on something, I can go, you know what? Maybe I'll record that video tomorrow. Yeah, it would just all of a sudden just blitz the whole day or the whole next day, and then I end up I make up the work. Obviously, we don't. So like I just stop doing stuff, but I do have the ability to block days off and kind of binge, and I use that ability every once in a while, and I enjoy a good binge. But 13, I'm going to say 13 hours, and I want to say it was Crusader Kings.
Oof. I don't think I've done one myself that long.
or Rust. Rust is terrible for that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I can't get off. I can't get back to my base. I have to stay on. Okay.
And then staying on ends up going for another 3-hour round trip around.
Yeah, exactly. You're in a whole other adventure. Yeah, well, now I'm going to fight with this guy.
What's the worst game you've ever played where you just sat down, you turned it on, you played about half an hour or so, and you've just gone, this isn't for me?
It's a tough judgment to pass because I don't want to dump on any games, and I'm really easy to please. Mm-hmm. So I like to think that the actual bad games I just don't buy, because I'm very selective on what I'm going to buy. The worst games for me are the games that don't offer a lot of depth, so you play them and then we just kind of figure out how it works. Mm-hmm. And the last one I remember being like that was a game called Green Hell. Oh, bless me. There's a game called Green Hell, which was not bad, but honestly, in about 7 or 8 hours, we kind of went, feel like we've seen the whole game. It's like a survival game, and we were surviving very comfortably. Yeah. And we're like, okay. And then that was, I didn't even have to Google anything to figure out, how do I do this? And so those games, I think you need to get an hour out of every dollar spent on a game in order. That's like a rule of thumb I've heard a lot of game developer people talk about. And Green Hell was the last game that didn't do that for me.
I was going to say, thinking back just to what you've said, I think the one for me that was like that was, I think it was Monster Hunter Worlds. I was really excited for it.
I know that one.
We were playing it, we were like smashing it. My mates sat there for a good 3 days grinding out with T-Rex armor before we moved on to like the next bosses, not realizing that after like 4 bosses in, you're literally just playing reskinned creatures. So it's the same like fight moves, you were like the same move set as before, but it's an ice bird instead of a fire bird, or it's basically the same thing. It's just got a different name and a different colour. Because I'm gonna say I'm very picky about my games as well. I don't just I don't just pick up anything random. It really does have to entice me to make me want to play it. So what do you enjoy about streaming? Obviously, bar having the lifestyle of it.
The lifestyle is not necessarily the best part about it because you are always on. You're always doing stuff. Especially in the age of working from home, I feel like people can relate to this. Every day I wake up, I have to be in front of people, unless it's a day that I'm deciding not to work, right? But every day I wake up and, you turn the lights on right after you wake up and you're like, you're like melting like a vampire.
Yeah.
So my favorite part about it, I feel like I touched on earlier, is the interaction with people, the energy you get from that. The feeling of entertaining people is one that I have always enjoyed, and one that I feel like I was made for streaming before I even knew what streaming was. So that's my passion. That is my addiction. But it's definitely not the schedule or anything. Being able to control your own schedule is nice.
Yeah.
Being able to not have to wake up at 8 a.m. or something is nice. There's an illusion that it is all roses all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go that far in that direction, but I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to say that to counterbalance it completely.
And to be fair, from people sitting on the outside, obviously all we see is, oh, you're going to this event this week and you're doing this week. Obviously, we don't see the behind the scenes of all the work you're putting into it.
No, what you don't see is I'm in Austria, right? And then I fly to New York, and then one day later I fly to San Diego.
Yeah.
And the jet lag of that, I celebrated when I woke up at 7 a.m. in San. I was like, I made it. The sun is up. Like, yes. But yeah, there's those moments where you're just sitting in the bathroom looking at the mirror, like, what am I doing right now? Why am I here? You just push through, and yeah, it's fine because eventually you get to play Rust for 13 hours or something again, and then everything makes sense in the world.
It's all back to normal.
Mm.
To round it up, as my final question, if you weren't a streamer, what would you be doing now?
Play-by-play broadcasting. That was I was an adult for a little bit without being a significant content creator.
Yeah.
A full-blown adult with a job and everything. I was a play-by-play broadcaster. That's the person that when you're watching a sporting event, they're going, he passes it to the left to Jenkins and now to the right to Johnson. Like that guy. That was what I did. I did it for every sport you could think of. I worked for ACC Network. I worked for NBC during the Olympics. I did that. That was my first passion. That was my first love. I love sports as much as I love gaming, at least. And I found a way to be involved in it. And that was, I actually had been working since I was 15 in the sports industry. I was working the scoreboard at the Yankees minor league team in Tampa. So I know exactly what I would be doing. Yeah. But the funny thing is that just turned into a hobby, and this turned into the job, right? This used to be the hobby, while sports broadcasting was the job, and now I'm broadcasting a game in 5 days, right? I still pick up a few games from producers I used to work with. Yeah. Last year I went to the Bahamas for a women's college basketball tournament. I could have gone this year, but it's in the middle of the freaking World Cup, so I'm not going to leave. Yeah, no, it doesn't line up for me live streaming watch-alongs to the World Cup, but so I still pick up opportunities, but it is as a hobby, as something I do just because I love to do it.
Well, it's nice to see, obviously, you being a content creator and bringing in your previous job sort of in together. Obviously, especially being football manager, I'm guessing you will commentate your own simulations as they happen, which is...
Yeah, I do. I do that. I switch into the Clive, which is this English accent that I have that I used to practice over FIFA for broadcasting games, and it works. I do apply it every once in a while. We do these watch-alongs of I simulate major international tournaments, and I'll broadcast the whole thing like it's a tournament, and a lot of people really enjoy that. So it is the meeting of the worlds. I'm interested to see how those worlds meet in the future. What funny gaming sports opportunities will appear to somebody with my weirdly unique skill set. I don't know.
Well, neither can I. It should be a pleasure to watch Zealand because I like everything else you do.
Certainly not everything, dude. I am more than capable of dropping a video and being like, "Why did I do that?" But I appreciate the sentiment.
Well,
Thank you.
We all here in the office enjoy what you do, so please keep it up.
Film my World Cup. No, wait. In 2 minutes I have to go play Lelujo and Civ. We have a wager going. We're gonna play a game of Civilization today.
Ah, very nice.
I really hope I don't lose. I can't lose this.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this again.
Yeah.
I've been Danny from Cyberpower, and this has been Zealand, and thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks a lot, Zealand. Have a good day.
You too.
I hope you win. See you soon.
Yeah, I need to.